This is your astrological forecast for Scorpio in the year 2022. January through March. This astrology forecast is for those who have their sun in Scorpio or a Scorpio Ascendant, also known as the rising sign. As a Scorpio, your ruling planets are Mars and Pluto. Mars represents action or will. Pluto represents divine action or divine will. Pluto, being divine will, represents quantum change and evolution. Your element is water and mode is fixed. You as a Scorpio are a fixed water sign. Scorpio's symbol is the scorpion. A scorpion has a tail that will sting you when it's threatened. This is a primary characteristic of Mars and Pluto in a fixed water sign. Mars can act on emotions. Pluto can delve the depths of the psyche of emotional wounds or scars that need healing. Oftentimes, Scorpios can see where inner work is needed based on how they react emotionally. Acknowledging this would go a long way in healing yourself. It is said that the head of the scorpion is that of an eagle's head. Here we see the polarities of Scorpio. The head of an eagle shows the good side of a scorpion. The stinger tail is showing the negative side. Pluto represents the hidden or secretive. As a Scorpio, you probably have a secretive side to yourself that not many people know about. You also may like to lash out and try to hurt someone who gets to your emotional nature. The head of the eagle shows where you are trying to succeed. You're trying to heal the emotions within you instead of acting out in ways that hurt others. Pluto also represents the Kundalini or evolutionary life force within you. The Kundalini is a cosmic fire that is coiled at the base of the spine. When activated, it raises your consciousness to higher levels. You can't see the Kundalini, it's hidden. It's a secretive aspect that is hidden from most. Meditation or spiritual practices activate this cosmic force that takes you to higher spiritual domains. Many Scorpios, especially if you have a Scorpio Ascendant, will realize the power of the Kundalini through sex. Sex can be a magical, alchemical, transformative process and experience for many Scorpions. In January, Mars is in Sagittarius in your second house of money, possessions, and things you want. Mars may put into action ways to generate income or evaluate your self-worth. Mars is an egotistic planet where measuring your bank account or what you possess may inflate or deflate your ego. The main focus of this year will be in your third house of communication, writing, teaching, and speaking, fourth house of home and family, fifth house of joy, creativity, love affairs, betting, gambling, and children, and your seventh house of marriage and partnerships. January 1st, Venus, Mercury, and Pluto form a stellium in your third house of communication, writing, teaching, and speaking. This is also the house of siblings. Pluto has been in your third house since 2008, so you've probably felt the effects of his energy in this area of your life. Pluto, Venus, Mercury are in cardinal Earth Capricorn in the keyword idealism. Idealism referred to here symbolizes having the awareness of the love wisdom being poured down upon you from the spirit world. This area of the zodiac is about the cultivation of higher emotions, and through this cultivation being able to communicate with souls who have crossed over to the spiritual world. Not only that, this decanate symbolizes the ability to grasp the ideal and express it into concrete form. This is done by developing and executing plans of your own, whereby you use the information you've obtained from the inner planes of reality as your source of ideas you are manifesting. Idealism falls nicely for you in your third house of communication because you are to communicate the ideas you're receiving through your sense perceptions and communicate them to others. Maybe the ideas you are receiving are of a spiritual nature, or maybe it's advice you can use to help others. Since Capricorn is a cardinal earth sign, you may be getting ideas of businesses that you may want to start. Psychic perceptions may be strong for you as well. Pluto is your ruling planet and in idealism. You're to be using the evolutionary life force within you to contact the inner planes of existence, share the knowledge with others, and put it to practical use on the earth plane. Venus and Mars are joined with Pluto for a couple of weeks. Venus represents attraction, repulsion, and love. You may find yourself attracted or repulsed by information you receive. You must use your own judgment and discernment in the information you are receiving. Does the information help someone? Is the information positive or negative? Is the information coming from a light or dark source? Pluto is the hidden and secretive. So is the knowledge dangerous you're receiving? Do you need to be careful with whom you share your wisdom? Mercury represents your concrete, practical mind. It's your everyday thinking mind. Use your rationality to decipher the messages during this time. Mars is in fixed fire Sagittarius in your second house of money, possessions, and things you want, forming a square to Neptune in mutable water Pisces in your fifth house of joy, creativity, betting, gambling, and children. Mars represents action and ego, and Neptune dissolves boundaries, especially ego boundaries. So you may find you're judging yourself based on what you have or don't have. Is your bank account getting bigger or dwindling down? Are you able to buy the things you want? Are you able to put money into an investment, or do you lack the amount of funds required? Mars wants you to act on your instincts, whereas Neptune blurs the lines as to what is the right thing to do. It's best to wait a couple of weeks or until February when Mars moves into Capricorn before making any decisions with your money. Neptune in your fifth house may be wanting to seek out a spiritual partner. Sexual gratification may not be a high priority, but rather finding the right person who meets your high expectations. In its very nature, Neptune is anti-materialistic, so it's wanting to create a spiritual connection with a sexual partner. A relationship not based on purely material aims. Be careful with Neptune in the fifth house when selecting a partner. There will be a tendency for you to over-idealize or over-romanticize a person to a point they cannot live up to. Putting someone on a pedestal may set the relationship up for failure. The opposite can also happen where the other person puts you on this altar as if you were a god. These are Neptunian delusions that you need to see through. An example of this could be a person with a substance abuse problem. You may be trying to help them and support them and spend all your free time being there for them. They look at you as if you are their higher power. You're trying to free the person of their addiction. All the while, they are romanticizing the relationship between the two of you. The Neptunian energy has blurred the lines of rational thinking. It has dissolved the boundaries of the true purpose and intention of the relationship. If you have children and have Neptune in your fifth house, you may have difficulty understanding them. It may be a challenge to get along. They also may come down with an illness of some sort. Whatever the case may be, parents sometimes put their children up on pedestals, even if they truly aren't acting or behaving in ways that support the lens through which you're seeing. Fifth house is also the house of betting, gambling, and creativity. You may be really finding your artistic creativity coming through dreams or visions. You may find you haven't always been artistic or creative, but since Neptune entered your fifth house, you have had creative inspirations. Neptune's transit through Pisces and your fifth house began in 2011 and will last until March of 2025. The end of February and beginning of March, Mars will form a conjunction to Pluto and Capricorn in idealism. This is occurring in your third house of communication, siblings, as well as short trips. Pluto-Mars together can cause disruptive activity and action. Be careful of having violent outbursts and taking actions that could cause you problems. There is reason to be concerned of ego conflicts during this time. Remember, this is your house of communication, so this will most likely manifest as whose will is stronger, who can dredge up the most secrets on the other person to win an argument. If you're feeling like going off on someone, ask yourself, who benefits from this type of behavior? Do I need to look within myself and address an issue within me, or am I justified in acting out? Maybe your voice needs to be heard by someone who has wronged or offended you. Each situation will be specific to each individual. Positive aspects to this transit are that you should be able to get a lot of work accomplished towards whatever you are creating based on the spiritual guidance you are receiving. This is a time to really be putting into action that which you are wanting to create. Just watch out for power struggles with other people during this time. Venus is also conjunct Mars and Pluto, so you'll have this tendency to attract or repulse people and vice versa. So your words and actions and other people's words and actions will be a guiding force as to who you end up working for or with. Getting caught up in or lured into battles of the ego are strong during this time. Venus will be attracting to arguing and fighting. If you can, take a step back and analyze the situation. Being self-aware can go a long way in preventing these types of circumstances. April through June. The beginning of April, Mars forms a conjunction to Saturn in fixed air Aquarius in your 4th house of home and family. This aspect also forms a square to your ascendant and natal sun in your 1st house of self. Mars represents action, ambition, drive, willpower, and anger. Saturn represents boundaries, limitations, restraints, maturity, fear, anxiety, and depression. The number 4 represents foundation. So your 4th house represents your foundation. Your foundation is built upon your home, family, and how you were raised. Now, Saturn in your 4th house is focusing on problems in your home life you have been putting off or not dealing with. You may find responsibilities to your home and family being a tremendous burden on you. You may have a parent or child that has moved in with you that you're now caring for. A house or rent payment or repairs that need to be done to the structure may be coming at a time that weighs on your financial ability, thus adding more stress to your life. Hopefully taking in a parent or an adult child is a temporary situation and doesn't lead to them becoming dependent on you. This can lead to problems later down the road if you don't set some rules, boundaries, or guidelines. Your physical home may be the source of your fear, anxiety, and worry. However, it is the foundation of your inner self, your inner home, that is the structure that needs attending to. Going to counseling or psychotherapy may be of great benefit to you in getting your inner and exterior homes in order. It is important to get your foundation in alignment so that you can succeed. The 10th house of career and your status or position in life opposes your 4th house of home and family. Any obstructions you are facing now may come back to haunt you when Saturn transits your 10th house, which won't happen for 14 years. Mars hitting Saturn should propel you into action. However, Saturn is like a brake pedal to Mars's gas pedal. This can manifest as working diligently to get things accomplished, or it can manifest as frustration and irritability, where little minor things set you off. Ego disputes are common with this conjunction. Mars wants to go in all sorts of directions. He wants to start projects and get things going. On the other hand, Saturn represents limitations to Mars's abilities. This may be that there's not enough time, money, or resources to do what needs to be done. However, you can always work on your inner house or inner foundation during this time. There are many techniques you can do on your own that don't require counseling, such as working out, breathing exercises, energization exercises, and meditation. The list could go on and on. Starting with your mental and physical health is a great way to building your foundation. This will help you structure your life in a way that will ultimately reinforce the physical structure of your home and family. You just have to be aware that the most important structure starts with yourself and is the key to getting through this aspect. The square to your house of self and ascendant means basically the same thing. It points to the crisis of getting yourself in order through hard work and determination. Sometimes this takes structure and discipline on your part. Your work ethic will pay off, not only for yourself, but also in terms of how people view you, your life mission, and eventually your career. Mid-April, Jupiter will conjunct Neptune in mutable water Pisces in your 5th house of joy, creativity, betting, gambling, and children. Neptune is divine love, unity consciousness, spirituality, and sensitivity. However, because of Neptune's high vibrational frequency, it also represents illusion, delusion, disillusionment, and the dissolving of boundaries. Jupiter represents growth, optimism, expansion, excess, and seeing the bigger picture. The key word or life experience Jupiter and Neptune are occurring in is vicissitudes. Vicissitudes symbolizes fun and excitement, which may lead to taking a chance and doing something you've never done before. This decanate represents recapitulating your life in some way. Most often people move or change jobs or start their own careers. This is an emotionally adaptable part of the zodiac. This can also be about being adaptable to those crossing over into the spirit world. You may find yourself being very sympathetic to the dying, or even help family members struggling with their dying loved ones. Your own clairvoyant ability may be able to communicate with those who have crossed over. Jupiter will magnify whatever scenario is playing out in your life. Neptune-Jupiter could be magnifying a spiritual love connection or love affair. However, like I said earlier, you or the person you're in the relationship with may be seeing things in an idealistic or romantic way that may not be completely true. A spiritual teacher may come into your life to help you. Whatever the reason may be that a spiritual teacher or a lover or someone else appears in your life who has a significant impact on you, you won't necessarily understand or comprehend the meaning behind these relationships until Neptune moves out of Pisces in 2025. You may find yourself in a very creative place during this transit. Although Neptune and Jupiter's impact may cause confusion or disillusionment, this may spark a new form of creative expression that represents a wonderful outlet for your own self-expression. July through September. In July, Uranus will conjunct the North Node in fixed Earth Taurus in your 7th house of marriage and partnerships. This includes business partnerships. Uranus represents freedom, liberation, independence, uniqueness, and reactivity to authority. The North Node represents the future, or the direction you want to be headed. Up until this point, the North Node has been in the keyword mastership, referring to the slow and steady climb to the top of achievement with few setbacks. A master refers to someone who has attained spiritual mastership over this world based on the state of consciousness they have attained through meditation and spiritual practice. In today's world, it more or less symbolizes someone who uses physical means to attain spiritual ends. It is a person who uses the power they possess to help others. During this conjunction, the key word for the North Node will change. For now, Uranus is enlightening you to circumstances in your marriage or partnerships. Your relationships may not be working out too well. However, if you have a stable relationship, you can endure this transit. You may have circumstances in your life that keep you in your marriage, such as financial reasons or children. With Uranus in your 7th house, these issues become more difficult to live with as the tensions in your marriage or partnerships intensify. Oftentimes, this transit signifies divorce or breaking away from the relationship or business partnership. This transit signifies you need to make changes. Maybe you seek out a new relationship, such as a love affair. If you enter into an affair or are in one, it will typically manifest as wild and very unstable. The affair is more likely to be an escape to get you out of the routine of the marriage. You'll find excitement in the beginning, but the relationship more than likely won't last. Legal issues can also come up during this transit, a divorce or a splitting off with a business partner. Also, new business ventures may take shape with legal documents that solidify the partnership and protect you or your assets. If you are getting married, you may want to consider a prenuptial agreement to protect your money and assets. This transit can signify secret enemies or jealous people that want to take advantage of you. This could be a jealous wife or husband or business partner that wants to hurt you in some way, and so they come after you legally. This is a time to protect yourself legally. You'll probably feel yourself needing to break free of the constraints and restraints of a marriage or partnership. This transit is evolving you to another level. You're looking to your future, which is in mastership, becoming the master of your life. If your partners aren't on board with your vision and beliefs, it's time you free yourself from them so that you can move on to someone and something better. Staying in the same dull routine is holding you back. The south node opposes Uranus and the north node. The south node is your past or where you don't want to be headed. The south node is in your first house of self in Scorpio in the keyword attainment. Attainment refers to using your sexual energy to carry your soul to the summit of physical and mental achievement. It represents your value of home and country and having the same values as your partner. It is your partner who gives you the drive and energy to make a success of life. Through life, we go back and forth between the nodes based on our life situation and how we react to situations. Now you are being called to look towards the future, where you have become enlightened to the fact you need to be your own sense of inspiration. You need to be the one in charge. Maybe the spark that your marriage or partnership once had has died out and no longer fulfills you. Whatever the case may be, look within yourself for guidance and inspiration to fulfill your life goals and how you see them, not how someone else sees them. By doing this, you'll attract another partner or business partnership who is in alignment with your new outlook, intentions, and goals. Saturn is in Aquarius in your fourth house of home and family, now in the keyword repression. Repression isn't about becoming repressed, but about becoming unrepressed. And Saturn is the planet of repression. Saturn also represents the government. Saturn may be stifling your ability to communicate with your husband, wife, or business partners. Saturn may also be binding you to legal agreements, stifling your ability to break free of the relationship. Your house and family may be involved in your business partnerships as well as your marriage, which complicates matters. Uranus is in the keyword struggle, so it's a battle over mental and physical willpower. Uranus is enlightened thinking and will break free of Saturn's rules, laws, boundaries, and restrictions. It just takes time. Uranus will go to shocking lengths to wake you up to the truth of any situation. Once this happens, you'll rebel, then liberate and free yourself. It just takes you awakening to the truth of the situation you are in. The beginning of August, Mars will conjunct Uranus and the North Node, propelling you into action and fighting back. You must stop giving in and fight back against the Saturnian shackles that bind you. From Saturn's influence, you may feel like your future is being held up. You're being asked to use your inventive mind to break free of the structure of your marriage and partnerships. Uranus will win in the end. However, your freedom and independence rely upon your actions to make it so. October through December. By mid-October, the Sun and Venus will form a conjunction in Libra in your 12th house of spirituality, karma, and withdrawal and retreat from the world. Sun-Venus will form a trine to Saturn and Aquarius in your house of home and family, and both will form a trine to Mars and Gemini in your 8th house of your subconscious, shared money, debt, and death. Sun-Venus will start out in the keyword independence and move into expiation. The 12th house is a mystical house. But the trines in your chart forming an air grand trine, which is the best aspect possible. Air represents communication and breathing. Independence refers to rebelling against restrictions and being a proponent for liberty. A few days later, the Sun, Venus move into expiation, which refers to the following the dictates of the laws of man or those of God, the source, the ground of being, or the universal principle of creative intelligence, or whatever term you want to use for all that is. Will you use your talents and abilities to help your fellow man, or use them to enslave them, thereby profiting from their ignorance? This is occurring in your 12th house of isolation and withdrawal from the world. The 12th house also represents hospitals, nunneries, ashrams, and prisons. Prisons can be physical but also mental. You may need to think in terms of freeing yourself of the prison of your mind. However, the trine to Saturn in the keyword inspiration sounds promising. Saturn is maturity and may be about working diligently to help your family or build up the foundation I spoke of earlier. Mars in Gemini is in the keyword reason, which means enlightened thinking. Mars is taking action, being willful or aggressive in connection with Saturn, the Sun, and Venus. Mars is fighting on the side of Saturn or rules, laws, and the government. Sun, Venus are in Libra, represented by the scales. They're weighing things out by using judgment and discernment in connection to what is going on in their home and with their family. Mars may cause a conflict in your life that causes you to change. Saturn in harmony with Mars forms from your 4th house could mean a judge makes a ruling that changes your life. This could come from a divorce where you have to share your money or pay out money to your ex. It could be a business partnership as well. It's more likely a divorce since it's affecting your home and family. Be careful not to use your money foolishly during this time. Mars' 8th house is about ego conflicts with other people. However, the transit sometimes is barely noticeable and other times very obvious. Mars' 8th house also sparks your sex drive, so you may be finding you need to release your pent-up sexual energy in a transformative sexual experience that takes Scorpios to another realm of existence. Mars's trine to Sun Venus in the 12th house may be asking you to go off by yourself and meditate deeply on your life and issues. Using the creative life force energy is great when you're having a sexual experience. However, channeling that creative energy in productive ways may propel you into getting things accomplished or figured out. The air grand trine is happening in air, so this is about communicating what you have to say to others, primarily your family and your partnerships. Many things will be going your way during this time if you use your creative energy in wise ways. Late October and into November, you'll be having a solar return because it's your birthday. Many people have said that the last 45 days before our birthday is a very trying time. This is because the sun is finishing the intention it made with itself the year prior. It must complete what it set out to do before it starts another intention. The sun will be in Scorpio in your 1st house of self, opposing Uranus for your birthday. This will spark surprising events either by you or someone you're close with. Since Uranus is in your 7th house of marriage and partnership, I'll venture to say you or your partner become anxious or restless, causing some type of argument or encounter. The transit of the sun is very short, but you should learn something about yourself and your relationship by investigating the restlessness within yourself. This is a time to figure out what you want. Later, you'll find out whether you can make it happen or not. In December, the Sun, Venus, and Mercury will be back in Capricorn in your 3rd house of communication, writing, teaching, and speaking, just as the year began. This time they are forming a trine or a harmonious aspect to Uranus and the North Node in the keyword struggle. They also form a sextile to your South Node in Scorpio in the keyword responsibility. Responsibility refers to the responsibility to the Kundalini, or evolutionary life force within you. Responsibility to being called to good or evil. Responsibility to filling positions of importance if you can handle them. Struggle is the combat of mental and physical forces that causes obstacles to crumble based on the use of your enlightened mind. Your future and past are being supported. However, this will take you looking within yourself and within your marriage and partnerships and finding a way to heal the situations you are in. The solution lies in your ability to communicate your thoughts, feelings, and emotions in a way that isn't aggressive or offensive, but in a manner that connects with the person, shows them you care. You want them to listen to you, so you must come across in a way that gives you what you want, but at the same time acknowledging what the other person or people want as well. Please subscribe to my channel and give a thumbs up if you like this video. To have a personal astrology reading with me, visit astrologywithjeffreybryan.com, or you can follow me on Instagram at astrologywithjeffreybryan or on Getter at Jeffrey Bryan. You can also subscribe to my blog at my website astrologywithjeffreybryan.com, and also various types of meditations can also be found on my website. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye, everyone.